upsets, of course, in the round, throughout the tournament, of course. But those teams that do upset don't necessarily mean they go very far.
They may just win that first game.
Yeah. We want to put the glass slipper on. How about that Cinderella that's out there? You got any teams you would say look out for?
Yeah, when I look for a team that the Cinderella team, I look for them to be a little bit lower on the list, and I usually like to think of them as someone that's going to be a mid-major and a team that can score. Those are the teams I think that can really break into that. And for me this year, it's the number 7 seed in the Midwest. It's Wofford.
You like those guys?
I do. They had a 20-game win streak this year. The Terriers, I think, are a very good team out of the Southern Conference. They score about 83, 84 points a game, and they are crazy from behind the arc. They're shooting about 41.5% from beyond the arc. And that is the type of, shooting that can really take down some good teams. And, yes, if they make it past Seton Hall, which I expect them to, they have a very tough matchup in Kentucky. Kentucky is a very, very talented team up there with any of the rosters out there, period. But if there's a team that could be taken down by a team that can, be a sharpshooter, it's going to be Wofford. And I see them easily going to, or potentially being able to make an appearance into the Elite Eight, possibly going up against North Carolina. So that's my team that can definitely break some brackets, the number 7. Wofford Terriers. Who do you got?
And just to let you know, 20-13 is Seton Hall's record. 29-4 for Wofford, and they score 83 points per game. Like that average. It sounds like it. I'll get to a lower seed here in just a moment. I'm going to throw out there, it's not necessarily much of a Cinderella, but Florida State, I feel like, can go deep in this run. And that's where I'm looking at that Gonzaga upset. If they get bounced by Syracuse, they have, or if they don't, let's say, and into the Sweet 16, they're going to have to play possibly a Florida State team who is deep. They have a lot of athletic ability, and they have just been kind of breaking it off in against a few opponents. I think they have a lot of ability. I know you like Vermont; they do have that chance. So maybe I totally get busted right there, but I feel like Florida State can make some noise down in the West. Going down to. We mentioned Yale maybe upsetting over LSU, but I don't think they're going to have enough mileage on that team. Something up maybe in the South where you have like a Villanova. They're the returning champions, the 6th seed. That's maybe something there. I kind of like Oregon.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Oregon just, man, every time it seems like this time of year, you look at Oregon, you can easily count them out. That is another program that just seems to find their way from the Pac-12 to just get deep into the tournament and do their duck thing. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, just one thing to note about Oregon and the Pac-12 is the Pac-12 sucks.
Okay.
The Pac-12 absolutely sucks, and so they get completely overlooked. And Oregon ran through that tournament. They made it look completely easy. And so I think that's a good pick. Don't sleep on Oregon. I can easily see them upsetting Virginia. Even though they have a better backcourt than they have in many, many years, I can easily see that pick. So I like that one too. Good call there, Ty.
All right. Let's get into the Final Four then. And who you got for this episode is who's making it to the Final Four? What are we doing there? Or who's going to be there?
Who's going to be there?
Who's going to be there?
All right. So
I look forward to this part of the episode, by the way. This is one thing I've been excited about.
One.
Yeah.
This is a good one. I am taking Michigan State out of the East. One of the things that we pointed out on the call beforehand is the number 1 overall seed in the 15 years they've been doing this. I heard this stat elsewhere. Trust me, guys. I didn't do my own research on this because we're average here. But out of the 15 years they've been doing this, the top overall number 1 seed has only made the Final Four 7 times. That's less than half. So I'm taking Duke out. I'm putting Michigan State in there from the East.
Ooh. And so do you West, have, just rewind over here real quick, do you have Duke playing against Michigan State? Or where do you think they... Okay.
No, I got
that's
Duke
where they falter.
Michigan State.
Okay.
Yeah, I got Duke and Michigan State in the East. I actually think that's a very, very overall easy bracket, to be honest, except for Michigan State and Duke for those two. I think those two may not really have too much of trouble. I can possibly see Michigan State running into a little bit of an issue if a team like Belmont maybe can make it in and sneak in and break some people up. But otherwise, I actually see both of them rolling quite easily to where they meet in the Elite Eight.
Okay.
And looking in the West, I went ahead and said that I like Vermont over Florida State as a possible upset, but I like the grittiness that you pointed out in Florida State as well, too. I can see them beating up on Gonzaga, and I just don't trust Michigan. So I'm actually going to take Florida State in the West. And in the South, I am going to stick with not an SEC team, a Big Ten team. I'm taking Purdue out of the South. I think that they're a team. They have a pretty good road to get there, to meet up with either a team like Virginia or Oregon, like we had just called out. And I think that Purdue is going to be just fine there. And then in the Midwest, I think you got a really tough bracket here as well, too, with teams like North Carolina. You have teams like Kentucky, my possible bracket buster there in Wofford. But I am going to take North Carolina here out of the Midwest. Okay. So I am taking one number one seed, and that is North Carolina.
Yeah. Okay. You like North Carolina. I'm going to already say that North Carolina is eliminated by the Sweet 16, or if not sooner. I think they're only good for 1 or 2 wins this year. That's all I'm going to say about that. Yeah. I kind of feel the same about Michigan as well, which gives me a look at also another Florida school, which is Florida. The Gators may be making it to the Sweet 16 this year. Sometimes they just can surprise you as well. But look out for Texas Tech. That was a team that I had talked about last year that I think, if memory serves me correct, they were at a 10 seed, and they did really well. I don't think they had a lot of turnover, so a lot of seniors on that club. They're ready to ball this year. So just keep that in mind. I would not be surprised as well that an 11 seed from the first round, not round 1 of 64, but what do they call that round?
The play-in round.
Play-in round. Thank you. That's why we have
the first
Eric.
4. Yeah,
yes,
I know.
An 11 seed is calling it right now, going to make the Sweet 16, because I think it's happened every year since they've had the play-in round.
They've at least an 11 seed is at least one of the play-in teams. So this year, Belmont and Temple, Arizona State, and St. John's, they've at least moved on to round 2 every year.
Okay.
And some of them have made the Sweet 16.
Yes.
But they've at least one of those 2 have made it into at least round 2.
Well, I think that is going to be one of these years, and either between I felt confident saying either. I think so too. Yeah.
The answer is Belmont.
Agreed. So
Arizona
anyway,
State's
I've totally derailed from my Final Four, so I just wanted to fill in a couple of gaps there, just kind of giving you where my mindset is. I'm going back to Oregon. No, I'm not going to say Oregon's going to the Final Four, but I'm going to say Tennessee is going to hang in there long enough to make it there, but not make it to the finals. Duke, I think, I like your stat that you brought up about overall number 1 seeds. There's been so much attention and hype around this particular Duke team this year that they seem to also carry that swagger, and they own it. I think they live for the pressure. They're all about it now. Some of these other clubs aren't going to necessarily relate to that. I feel like they are going to be...
Except Tom Izzo's Michigan State Spartans.
That's true. Michigan State does have a good shot, and I can easily believe that your pick there of Duke and Michigan State meeting as a 1 and 2 is highly doable, without a doubt.
Duke's a great team.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just moving some pieces here. I think, I'm going to stay with that Florida State pick, that they're going to go deep, just a kind of a shot, and then Duke. Do we want to get into the finals? I already kind of gave away half.
Did you pick someone from the Midwest?
Ooh.
I don't got anybody from the Midwest from me.
Oh, yeah, you're right. You know what? Kentucky, Eric. I'm going to go
there
Kentucky. So
there it is.
2-2, 1-4.
Okay.
Nothing that sexy or crazy, but And you know how it is.
It's pretty standard,
We
though.
could
I
see
think
a
it's something
6
like
seed.
80% of the time, yeah.
Yes, right. That's a
top four
pretty
seeds make the Final
responsible,
Four.
right? Pretty responsible kind of combinations. Very per the mold of what you see. You don't see a lot of seeds more than 6 or 7 that often.
Mm-hmm.
Even when you do, and that is about the lowest seed that ever makes the Final Four, isn't it? 7 and 8.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, food for thought on that one. Eric.
I mean, there have been some lower seeds that have made it. But
sure, but that's like a very rare case.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. So, yeah, my Final Four, I have Michigan State, Florida State, Purdue, and North Carolina. I'm going to go ahead and take North Carolina over Purdue, Michigan State over Florida State. Championship is going back to Mr. Tom Izzo.
Okay.
And Michigan State
Wow.
over North Carolina on
All right.
April 8th. That's
Okay.
what I got.
Yeah. I like it. Do you even have your tiebreaker filled in yet?
I don't have my tiebreaker filled in as far as a score.
Yeah.
Oh, God, is that what we're doing for a score? I'm going to say the final score is going to be 78 to 75.
That'd be a pretty good
75.
game. That is nothing like, 2 years ago? Last year? It was pretty low scoring. Very boring.
I got to be honest, that's a shot in the dark. I just made that up.
Okay. Yeah, of course. I do like that we've hardly touched on, by the way, the returning champions. They are back in the tournament as a 6th seed. But we did not have a lot of love for them for making it far. We should have done some research on how far returning champions actually get in the tournament. I feel like, though, they get bounced early more often than not. I think so.
I mean, if they're ranked 6th, then yeah, that's probably going to happen.
Sure. Fair enough. For me, again, real quick, Tennessee, Kentucky is going to meet. I'm going to have Kentucky win that one and Duke over Florida State. So to meet against Kentucky is Duke, and that is who I have for the winner, the number 1 overall. I know.
I mean, that's a good pick. Zion Williamson is a monster, and if he's healthy,
that's the thing.
Duke is going to be an incredibly tough out.
That's the thing,
because they only looked real vulnerable this year without him. So
yeah, that's
not a bad pick.
So anyway, we're gonna put our honest tournament brackets up. I think we'll share some of those picks, or at least if we can share the entire bracket on Facebook, I think that would be fun. We have a URL. We'll put that on there. No, it should be easy. And then Eric and I also have kind of a prop thing going on where we will play some real wacky brackets, trying to put in a lot more of the upsets and Cinderella stories in there, giving a more unique Final Four for sure. So I think that's going to do it for NCAA bracket episode, Eric. How do you feel about that?
That brings it to a close, guys. So Thank you guys so much for listening. Don't forget to tell your friends. Please like, subscribe, share our page, and we are going to see you guys next time. But, of course, don't forget to send us a Gmail to abgsportsguys@gmail.com. Guys, that's only one this episode. You guys got lucky.
That's only one? Yeah.
Only one. We did, 5 or 6 last time?
Yeah, we did more Facebook plugs, I feel like. Yeah, that's not so bad.
We did. Yeah, pretty good.
Yeah. All right, until next time, good luck on your brackets. Share some of your own upsets. I think we would want to hear that.
Yeah.
So
post them to our page. We're going to try and get our brackets up no later than tomorrow. So post them on there, guys. Show us what you got.
Oh, yeah. All right. Until next time. Later.
Bye.